Let's talk about the Steelers and their quarterback situation right now. Now, as I record this video, Russell Wilson is a free agent. Justin Fields is expected to sign with the New York Jets on Wednesday. So Justin Fields, he's not coming back. There was a lot of reports that came out that Justin Fields was the heavy favorite over Russell Wilson in the building. And then reports came down to the final hour that he wanted the Steelers to basically go out there and basically commit to him and say that, hey, you're our guy. And that was not going to be the case. He had to deal with that last season with Russell Wilson. They pulled him out of the lineup after 6 games. He went 4-2. And I wish him nothing but the best. Good luck going to the New York Jets. And I think that Justin Fields could find success over there. But when you look at the New York Jets organization, historically, they have not done a very good job of developing young quarterbacks. But hopefully he can find success with Garrett Wilson and also with Breece Hall. Now, when I look at the Steelers side of things, you have Russell Wilson. He's still out there. You have Aaron Rodgers. These are 2 older quarterbacks. Russell Wilson missed the first 6 games because of a calf injury that he suffered in training camp. He was pushing sleds. He hurt his calf. 16 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions in the games that he played with the Steelers. And they made the NFL playoffs and they lost against the Baltimore Ravens. They had a lot of problems with their offense. For one, the run game was not that consistent with Najee Harris. He is expected to sign with the Los Angeles Chargers on Wednesday. I think that Najee Harris will be a very good running back with the Chargers. You can find another running back in the NFL draft. You bring back Jaylen Warren. They put a transitional tag on him. So if a team wants to go out there and they want to sign Jaylen Warren, you have to give up a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. So Jaylen Warren will be coming back. I expect for them to add a running back in the NFL draft. Now, with all that being said, before I really get deep into the offense with the DK Metcalf trade and George Pickens, when I look at the quarterback situation, if you go with Aaron Rodgers, this is a quarterback that suffered a torn Achilles just a few years ago. He's going to bring a media circus with him. Aaron Rodgers can still play. He's a solid quarterback option, but you're not getting the Aaron Rodgers of old. You're getting an older version of Aaron Rodgers, and he has clashed with head coaches like Coach LaFleur, like Coach McCarthy in the past with the Green Bay Packers, and he clashed with Robert Saleh. Now, he did not go out there and get Robert Saleh fired. That came from Woody Johnson, the owner. But he was not a huge fan of Robert Saleh. Let's not forget when Robert Saleh went for the hug, Aaron Rodgers pushed his hand out and he said, not yet. We've seen him hug Coach McCarthy in the past and the same with Coach LaFleur. And he has been a major headache with coaches and general managers. He's been a very nice player in terms of going out there and being a team guy. In terms of being out there and not being a headache for the head coach or for the general manager, that's not going to be the case. You have Russell Wilson. He's more so reserved. I do believe that Aaron Rodgers right now is a better quarterback in terms of pushing the football deep down the field on a consistent basis. But when you talk about the athleticism, Russell Wilson can still move around here and there, but it's not the same like how it was 4 to 5 years ago. Regardless, the Steelers are in a tough spot. If you go with Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, you should go with Russell Wilson. He was here last season underneath Arthur Smith. He knows the offense. He has chemistry with Big Pat at the tight end position. He has chemistry with George Pickens. He has chemistry with Jaylen Warren and with Cordell Patterson and with Calvin Austin III. And this is the biggest one here. He has chemistry with DK Metcalf because they're former teammates with the Seattle Seahawks many years ago. And some of DK Metcalf's best years came from Russell Wilson. I'm not saying that the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position, but they can make the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year. Is Arthur Smith a great offensive coordinator? Hell no. But when you give him pieces like George Pickens, like DK Metcalf on the outside, I think that it can upgrade his play calling. He was limited last season. You only had one receiver that was going to consistently get open, and that was George Pickens. Calvin Austin III, he tried his best, and George Pickens missed some games dealing with a hamstring injury. You bring back Russell Wilson, and you possibly make a trade to bring in a quarterback like Joe Milton from the New England Patriots. They want to place him into a good situation. They want him to continue to develop. I look at Joe Milton. He is raw as hell in terms of his passing game, but the athleticism is there. He's a big, strong arm quarterback. He only had one good game this season against the Buffalo Bills, and that was the last game in the regular season. He went against the backups, but there's a lot of potential there. If you don't want to go with Joe Milton, you could select a guy like Jackson Dart, hopefully in the second or third round. But you should not be touching a quarterback in the first round. This quarterback class is not good enough, or unless you're going to trade up to get a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And I don't see that happening for the Steelers. Russell Wilson is a safer option. He does hold on to the football for a very long time. He can't see across the middle of the field consistently enough. You know, another quarterback that doesn't target the middle of the field consistently enough, Aaron Rodgers. But you can still win football games with either one of these quarterbacks, but you'll be more comfortable with Russell Wilson because he's quieter and you don't have to worry about him going on the Pat McAfee show every single week. You're already going to possibly have a problem with George Pickens and also DK Metcalf in the same locker room because both of those guys, they want to get the football. And I have a lot to talk about with those players in the next few seconds in terms of their attitude and their personalities. But you bring back Russell Wilson, you draft a quarterback. That's the way to go. Or you go out there and you make a trade to bring in someone like a Joe Milton for a fourth or a fifth round pick. I don't have that much faith in Coach Tomlin going out there and developing a quarterback because he never had to. And I damn sure don't have that much faith in Arthur Smith. Look at what he did with the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill, they got him from the Miami Dolphins. He was already a veteran in the NFL. He played a couple of years with the Dolphins. He goes over to the Tennessee Titans. He turns his career around. But he had a big bruiser in the backfield in Derrick Henry. He had a great number one in A.J. Brown, number one wide receiver. And they made the playoffs numerous times with him and Mike Vrabel calling the shots as the head coach, and Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator. He did such a good job. He became the head coach with the Atlanta Falcons, but he could not develop a quarterback. We saw that with Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota looked terrible with Arthur Smith. Desmond Ridder looked terrible with him. And the same with Taylor Heineke. But you have a veteran option in Russell Wilson that's established. He's not a top 10 quarterback. But he had some moments last year that made you say, hey, there is still a very good quarterback in Russell Wilson. He may not be able to move like how he used to, but the moon ball is there. He can still take those deep shots down the field to George Pickens. He can take those deep shots down the field to Mike Williams. So you go with Russell Wilson. I still think that you should be able to go out there and contend in this division and possibly win a playoff game for the first time since 2016. And I would give Omar Khan his credit. You can say what you want to say about DK Metcalf off the field in terms of him having an attitude and being a big personality. He's trying to do everything that it takes to win a playoff game and get the Steelers over the top. Kevin Colbert did not make moves like this when he was a general manager. Omar Khan is very aggressive by going out there and signing Patrick Queen, by going out there and signing DK Metcalf. I can't kill the man for trying. He's doing the best that he can. To trade a second round pick for DK Metcalf or true number one, that's a good situation. Now, I've seen a lot of people come out and say him and George Pickens on the same team. It may not work out. DK Metcalf is a diva. DK Metcalf is a diva. DK Metcalf in the past has been kicked out of games for going out there and being too aggressive on cornerbacks, unnecessary roughness, penalties that'll put you behind schedule. Yes, it does happen, but it's not to the same degree as a George Pickens. They both need to mature. Adding in DK Metcalf from a playing standpoint is great. I think that he will work out with the Steelers in this organization, and you can't blame everything on Coach Tomlin. Antonio Brown was a head case off and on the field, but we saw that later in his career. And Mike Tomlin, he'll talk to a guy like George Pickens and say, hey, stay in the game. Let's not do that. If you watch Hard Knocks, you will see him go up to George Pickens. Let's chill out on that. And George Pickens, he'll listen to him for the rest of the game. George Pickens has to mature. He has to grow. DK Metcalf will have moments like that to where he wants the football. A.J. Brown, he does the same thing with the Philadelphia Eagles. He had a lot of disagreements with Jalen Hurts. Let's not forget what the national media said about A.J. Brown. He's a diva. He's upset because he's not getting the football. They just won a Super Bowl together. Wide receivers want the football. It happens. A lot of the top wide receivers throughout NFL and history, they have been divas because they want to win. They want to get the football. It doesn't make them terrible human beings. It doesn't make them terrible players. DK Metcalf will get frustrated when he doesn't get the football. Will he give up on plays? It can happen. Over the last two seasons, it hasn't happened as much. When I look at George Pickens, that's a huge problem. We saw him give up on the route against the Kansas City Chiefs. That play led to an interception in the red zone. I saw him give up on the play before against the Washington Commanders. He can't have those type of plays. That's why he's automatically now number 2 wide receiver next to DK Metcalf. But when you have those 2 wide receivers on the side playing alongside each other, that's going to be a very good situation, especially if DK Metcalf misses a couple of weeks, like how he missed some games this previous season dealing with a knee injury. Now you go back to Calvin Austin III, you go back to George Pickens. If George Pickens goes down, you have DK Metcalf and you have Big Muth at the tight end spot. The Steelers are better off in the situation that they're in right now than they were last season. And the play calling has to be on point. And Arthur Smith has to be a better play caller. And I do believe that the run game will be better. You're not going to play a lot of tight boxes against the Steelers right now, because those one-on-one opportunities, those moonball opportunities are definitely going to be there for DK Metcalf and for George Pickens. And I would like to see Arthur Smith get away from that. Do more crossing routes. Do some more routes underneath with Russell Wilson. And if he can get things going, this is why you should draft a quarterback, or you should trade for a young quarterback and you push him into the starting lineup. You're hoping now that DK Metcalf and George Pickens, they can help elevate the game of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was able to elevate the game of wide receivers in the past 6 or 7 years ago. He can't do that anymore. And he tried to get the most that he could out of Calvin Austin III. We saw him take some big shots down the middle to Calvin Austin III from this previous season, especially against the Cleveland Browns and against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I do believe the Steelers right now with Russell Wilson, they will be fine. As long as you bring in a veteran option, you could bring in Aaron Rodgers, but it's the headache that's going to come with that. And it's not me saying that Aaron Rodgers is a terrible quarterback. He doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers can still spin the football, just not at a consistent level like how he used to, because he tore that Achilles. But from just a player standpoint, from a human being standpoint, I think that Coach Tomlin would be better off with Russell Wilson because he would be a better leader with this team than Aaron Rodgers. If they sign Aaron Rodgers, hey, you'll still be fine. You're going to go into a similar situation. You have 2 veteran quarterbacks. The only difference is this. Russell Wilson is younger than Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson has not suffered a torn Achilles in his career. I'm just saying. When I look at the offensive line, they did lose James Daniels in free agency to the Miami Dolphins. That's okay. He tore his Achilles his previous season. Before he tore his Achilles, he was a top guard in the NFL. He was great. But you have Mason McCormick. You expect for him to be better in year number 2. Troy Fautanu, if he can stay fully healthy, I'm excited to see him at the right tackle position. You have Isaac at the left guard position. You did lose Dan Moore Jr. I will say this. Dan Moore Jr. had some okay moments. Dan Moore Jr. is better than Broderick Jones. I'm going to say this again. You listening to this video, you're better than Broderick Jones playing the left tackle position. Broderick Jones right now is terrible. The money that the Tennessee Titans just gave Dan Moore Jr. is a huge mistake. He's not a top tier tackle in the NFL. He's only 26 years old. And when you look at the stat line, they say he has only played 66 games throughout his entire career. He's been a very good tackle. That's not the case. He's durable. Doesn't mean that he's a good player. Maybe they put him into a better situation with the Tennessee Titans, but Dan Moore Jr. walking away was a good decision on the Steelers to not overpay him, and they should still try to bring in a left tackle to help out Broderick Jones just in case he can't work out, because I'm telling you right now, he is terrible. He cannot defend against elite level competition, and even some rotational pass rushers come in and they give him a lot of problems. He's young. You can still stick with him. You can grow with him. But I'm just saying right now, I do not have that much faith in Broderick Jones being a very good player with the Steelers on this offensive line. And Zach Frazier, he's going to be one of the best centers in the NFL for years to come. A tremendous player there. So if this offensive line can play better, like how they played on the first half of the season when they was fully healthy, they could be onto something. And that may be the key to success here. You don't have to force the football to DK Metcalf and George Pickens. You just put those guys out there in decoy situations. You should still want to run the football with Jaylen Warren. Try to run the football with a running back that you get in the 3rd or the 4th round. Because the Steelers, they don't have a 2nd round pick. You have to keep that in mind. They may trade out the 1st round. We'll see what happens. But them trading that 2nd round pick for DK Metcalf, I agree with it. Now look at the defense. You did lose Dante Jackson. He's no longer on the team. Dante Jackson is part of the Los Angeles Chargers. He's going with Najee Harris. But you did sign Darius Slay. Do not get that hyped up on Darius Slay. I wish that this was Darius Slay 3 to 4 years ago. Darius Slay is a veteran cornerback. We have seen the Steelers do this in the past. We've seen them do this with Joe Hayden. We've seen them do this with Patrick Peterson. They'll go out there, they'll bring in a veteran cornerback when they're behind their prime. Darius Slay, he can still play, but not at an elite level. And I do worry about him going against some wide receivers like a Jamar Chase, like a T. Higgins. He's going to be a very good veteran in short yardage situations, but the way that Coach Tomlin likes to call this defense with Coach Austin, I'm worried about that. It's not me saying that he's horrible, but I don't know if he has the athleticism anymore to keep up with some of the younger wide receivers in the NFL, especially someone like a Zay Flowers. Now, you still have Joey Porter Jr. holding things down. He's your best cornerback on the team still. You have Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's a very good player. You have Corey Trice. Durability. And Omar Khan said this during the combine, durability. If he can stay healthy, he'll be a very good rotational player. Think that you bring him back in that secondary. The defense, they're going to be okay. You have Keanu Benton, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Patrick Queen. You are bringing in Malik Harrison, which is very interesting to bring him in because you have Malik Harrison, you have Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, and you have Cole Holcomb. That is a loaded inside linebacker room. Someone is getting cut sometime soon. Maybe during training camp or after training camp. There is no way they're bringing all these linebackers over to the brand new regular season. I just don't see it happening. Be on the lookout for Cole Holcomb because he suffered that knee injury in his first year with the Steelers against the Tennessee Titans, and he was a solid player until that injury happened. But you look at Patrick Queen, he's able to stay healthy. Peyton Wilson has dealt with injuries in college, was a very good player in his rookie season. The defense, they're going to be okay. They draft very well every single year. You still have TJ Watt. You have Alex Highsmith. You're going to be okay. They need to bring in some extra defensive ends to crash in and stop the run because the way that you got bullied against the Baltimore Ravens was just so annoying to see in the NFL playoffs. But to basically conclude this video, if I had to pick on which quarterback to go with, I would go with Russell Wilson over Aaron Rodgers. He's less of a headache. Is Russell Wilson going to be the main reason why you win football games? No. But he's not going to be the main reason why you lose football games either. He had a lot of plays this year that made me just shake my head and say, hey, there's Russ. But he also had a lot of games this year, like how he had against the Washington Commanders and like how he had against the Baltimore Ravens. Even though he had some bad moments in those matchups, he still came out and you could say, you know what, we're confident with moving with him going forward. It's the reason why you bench Justin Fields, to let him be the starter. I know this is not the most popular name to go with, but let me know in the comment section below, who would you rather see the Steelers sign, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.